Do you know how communication skills can transform your life? Do you know by speaking effectively can help you to achieve your dreams quickly? तो चलिए बात करते हैं इस पॉडकास्ट में हाउ यू कैन स्पीक इफेक्टिवली, हाउ यू कैन बिकम अ इम्पैकेबल कम्युनिकेटर। तो आज इस पॉडकास्ट की गेस्ट हैं मिस वृंदा, सीजन पब्लिक स्पीकिंग कोच एंड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स ट्रेनर एंड 2 टाइम जो स्टॉक स्पीकर। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। वेलकम वृंदा, हाउ आर यू?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. How's going everything there?
Great. All good, all good. Thank you so much for inviting me for this session so I can keep myself a bit occupied.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. So today we are going to discuss about communication skills, how we can improve our communication skills, how we can communicate effectively. So let's start with our first question, that what do you think, what is effective communication? Because when it comes to communication, as we know, we communicate more than 14 hours every single day in form of speaking, discussing, or in conscious thinking. So what does effective communication mean to you? And what is the difference between communication and effective communication? What do you think?
So, firstly, to address effective communication is when the other person is understanding what you're trying to say. And also, when you speak to someone, you should pay full attention while someone is talking. So, effective communication involves active listening. Most of us, we tend to think that communication is only when a person is speaking. There are non-verbal communication also. Like you can speak with your body language, you can speak speaking, your tonality, everything matters when you communicate. So if I'm trying to tell you something, and if you're totally understanding your opposite meaning, then it's not effective communication. So while you're communicating, you should make sure that firstly, you're a good listener. It's very important. People think that communication is only about speaking. No, communication is more about listening and active listening. Now, the difference is when you're listening, you'll not pay much attention. You'll just know, okay, the speaker is saying this. But when you're actively listening, you'll take down notes or you'll ask questions. So those are very important concepts of active listening. So when you're communicating, you first need to make sure what is going to be your mode of communication. Is it verbal? Is it non-verbal? Is it through mail? Is it through any other means of communication like WhatsApp message or anything? Now you have to structure your content in a way that the other person is able to understand. That's very important. So, and also when you're communicating face to face or through a Zoom call or any virtual means of communication, you should always maintain your tone and you should have a positive smile. Smile does a lot of communication. So now if I'm talking to somebody and I'm just maintaining a very straight face, I'm not smiling, my body language is something else, my tonality is not proper, then the other person might misinterpret me. They might think that I'm an arrogant speaker or I have an attitude. So you should know to who are you communicating, what do you want to communicate, how are you going to communicate, and how will you structure the communication process while you're communicating. So all these things are very important and they are a part of effective communication.
Absolutely, totally agree with you, because communication is all about other person to whom you are communicating, because you are saying something to them. If other person is not getting exactly what you are trying to say, it doesn't mean that you are communicating very well. You just have to focus on the thing that you are, whatever you are saying to other people is getting exactly as you want them to understand.
Yes.
And second thing is, we just need to focus on our body language, our way of speaking, way of, how we are presenting ourselves, so that, our meaning gets in front of them as we want them to understand.
Yes.
So,
Correct.
we are, when it comes to improving communication skills, हम कभी यहाँ से सीखते हैं, कभी वहाँ से सीखते हैं. We are getting something from here and there. But when it comes to improving in a proper way, we need to follow a structure. जैसे पहले ये करना है, उसके बाद सेकंड स्टेप, फिर थर्ड स्टेप. So what are those steps so that we can improve our communication skills?
So steps is, first we need to analyze how are we communicating. हम
Okay.
कैसे किसी और से बात कर रहे हैं, आप उसको नोट करो. And then whenever it's either it's in your corporate world or it's outside corporate world, when you're in a social meet or any of that sort, observe people around you. That's very important.
Yeah.
You need to have the power of observation and
Yeah.
feedback. Feedback,
Absolutely.
always try getting your feedback from your friends and family. So they will give you a very constructive feedback on how you can improve your communication. Also, observe people around you. How are they talking to each other? How
Yeah.
are they talking to their higher authorities? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
these things are very important. So we should never underestimate the power of observation and the power of feedback. So accordingly, as in when you get feedback and as in when you observe and as in when you see how you're communicating, you can automatically start improving. Now, if you want to communicate better, if you want to improve your English, spoken English, try reading books. If you can't read books, you can very well read newspapers. If you can't do that also, there are so many influencers on Instagram, on LinkedIn, who are constantly putting content on how you can improve your communication. You can follow them. You can get some references from them. You can get some ideas from them. And then what you can do is you can try preparing speeches, short speeches, and try practicing in front of a mirror. So when you practice in front of a mirror, you can actually see how you're presenting yourself in terms of your body language, in terms of your smile, in terms of your eye contact, in terms of how you're communicating. Also, when you're communicating, make it very interactive. Try and engage your audience, try and engage people around you, try and ask them some questions, give them some time to speak as well. So I think these are very important when you consider how you can improve or how you can structure your communication better. You can follow these process and this is definitely going to help you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with your points, because if we want to improve our communication, that is there is only one way to improve our communication: by communicating and observing and
Yes,
improving. So if you want to
yes,
improve, you just have to observe and you just have to
yeah,
do the same. What you are suppose,
yes,
if I am speaking well and you want to improve, learn from me, observe me. How am I
yeah,
speaking? The way I am communicating.
yeah,
You just need to understand कि वो बंदा कैसे बात कर रहा है, उसकी वे ऑफ टॉकिंग
हाँ,
क्या है, उसका बॉडी लैंग्वेज क्या है, उसकी किस बात पे मुझे हंसी आ रही है या कुछ
correct,
इमोशन फील हो रहा है, क्यों फील हो रहा है. If you focus on that, you will understand
yeah,
कि there is some pattern. If you follow that pattern, you
yes,
will be able to speak better as you want to speak. Because we have a dream कि
yes,
मुझे उसके जैसा बात करना है, मुझे उसके जैसा स्पीकर बनना है. And second point, I
yeah,
just want to add that you should record as well, because we are a
yes,
great judge. जैसे हमें लगता है ना यार वो बंदा अच्छा नहीं
yes,
बात कर रहा है, वो फंबल कर रहा है, उसकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज अच्छी नहीं है. So if we record ourselves, we will be also doing the same for ourselves. यार मैं अच्छा दिख नहीं
yeah,
रहा, मैं अच्छा बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं यहाँ गलत कर रहा हूँ. So जैसे एक मेजरमेंट होता है ना कि हम जब जिम जाते हैं तो एक मेजरमेंट होता है कि फर्स्ट डे आपका वेट 70 kg था, 7वें दिन 70 से कितना कम हुआ या ज्यादा हुआ. So if you measure that, for that you just have to record
yes,
yourself. Is there
yes,
any way to measure instead of recording? How we can measure communication?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, through Toastmasters, now since I'm a member of Toastmasters, I got this wonderful platform to explore my public speaking skills. And I got really constructive feedbacks that, what you can improve in your speech. So, I think we should join a community that gives us a platform to speak on any topic that we like. And then welcome all the constructive feedback that people are trying to offer you. And those people
Absolutely.
who are giving you feedbacks, they are either public speakers or
Mhm.
they are very strong speakers. They have experience in that particular category. Second
Absolutely.
thing, for your speech. always practice your speech in front of your family and friends. You
Yeah.
need not have a very large audience. So this is personally something that I have followed. So every time before my speech in Toastmasters, I used to prepare my speech well ahead. I
Yeah.
used to rehearse my speech just in a room, only me, only I used to be there and I used to rehearse. Once I felt I'm confident and I know my speech, I used to call my parents, my sisters, or my friends, and I
Yeah.
used to make them sit and I used to tell them, now you hear me out. So I used to speak and then they used to give me the feedback.
Yeah.
Also, you can record the timing. That's very important because whenever you're giving a public speech, there is a certain time that you have to follow, ideally 5 minutes to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So just see if your speech is fitting into that particular time category. Of course, plus and minus 30 seconds, grace is allowed, but nothing more than that. So we need to also focus on that. So I think through these ways, we can build our communication, we can become better public speakers. This is something, and also very important is the art of storytelling. Whenever you're giving a speech, try and give your speech as a story in three parts. Like that is a pattern that we follow in Toastmasters. That's why I'm recommending that. So try and give three short stories, and through stories, people relate a lot more. If I'm just going to give a normal speech, people might not relate. But when I'm trying to convey a story, people will be interested to hear what I'm speaking. Also, another very important factor is empathy. You need to be emotional in your speech. You need to empathize with the audience. You need to create a pattern where the audience is engaged with you emotionally. They relate with you emotionally. So
Yeah.
when you try and bring emotions into your speech, it definitely adds a wow factor. People will remember you and people will say, yes, that day she had spoken and she told us this story of hers. So people will
Absolutely.
not remember the words. People will remember your story and the emotions associated. So I
Yeah.
think through these means, you can make your communication and your public speaking skills better.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll, as I told you earlier, that we will improve our communication and public speaking just by doing it. So we just have to speak
Yes.
in front of people. We just have to make a script or the speech and present in front of people or the family members. The most comfortable place we have is in our family, that in speaking in front of our family members. So if we can
Yes.
present there, we can present in front of other
Yes.
people as well. The best thing is we just have to observe and present ourselves in every
Yes.
single day, and we just have to focus on how I was presenting yesterday and how am I presenting today. If you see,
Yes.
if a small difference, that means you are growing, that means you are improving in communication and public speaking. So just by doing it again and again and getting feedback and adding into your communication and public speaking, that will help you to boost your communication and public speaking. So my next question is, as you have mentioned, we need to focus on our listening skills. Most of the time, when we go outside, हम बहुत सारे लोगों से हम मिलते हैं ना, उनके पास बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं बोलने के लिए, कहने के लिए, but we never want to listen. So how we can go from me centric to you centric?
So I think that's a very challenging process because people who like speaking, most of the times, they don't like listening. They
Yeah.
only like being heard. So that's a very challenging process. So I think the first step will be to discover that you are not a great listener. You're only a good speaker.
Yeah,
And to be a very good speaker, you should be a very good listener. So the
absolutely.
first thing starts with introspecting.
Mhm.
You need to understand, identify if you're a good listener or not. Now you need to start implementing it. So when you
Mhm.
meet people, or first start ghar se, start it from your house, from your home.
Absolutely.
When you sit with your family, allow them to speak. Have some patience. Pay attention to what they are saying. And then
Mhm.
empathize with them, relate with them, talk to them, comment, give them the space to talk. And once they are done, then you can start speaking. So when you start practicing from your home, It will become a daily routine. And when the daily routine is established, every time you step out and you meet people, you will always have the mindset of listening from people.
Yeah.
So then you will start listening, and then you will start communicating, and then you will start networking, and then you'll become better speakers. So
Yeah.
this is a process. So the process starts with identification from within, that if you're a good listener or not, and then try implementing it in your daily routine.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. So, we just need to understand that listening can help you to become a great speaker. You are
Yes.
most of the time we are just listening just because other person is saying, but we never focus.
Yes.
We have to listen because we want to listen. And if we focus
Yes.
on that, I'm just listening because I want to. You will learn a lot. You will respect other people a lot, and you will be able to, help other people or communicate well, or you will understand well. If you just only listen,
Yes.
because listening has a great power. My next question is, what do
Huh.
you think? What are the biggest barrier of communication? Because why? What do you think? Why people are not communicating effectively? What are the things that is stopping them to communicate well?
Yeah. So I love this topic personally. I've been talking about this in my Instagram account. So I feel there are a lot of myths that are associated with communication. And those myths are: number one, you feel underconfident
Yeah.
when you do not have confidence on yourself that you can communicate. Number two, people think if we are an introvert, we are not good communicators.
Yeah.
Introvert and extrovert has nothing to do with your communication. Number three would be, people think that only if we speak, we are good speakers. If we don't listen, we are not good speakers. So there are so many myths like that. And then people think women can communicate better than men. Some people think women can network more than men. So these kind of myths, when they are there, it stops you from communicating. And the main barrier, according to me, is confidence. People lack confidence nowadays and also lack awareness of the importance of confidence and communication in today's generation. People feel that just because now, because of COVID, everybody is at home, we are doing work from home, so we do not need to communicate. No. Any kind
Absolutely.
of a pandemic should not stop you from networking or communicating. We should always adjust ourselves according to the uncertainties that life throws at us. So, today, if we are more involved in a virtual world and we are going into a hybrid world or a work from home world, try communicating and networking with people online. Even through
Absolutely.
that, you can build your communication. Connect on Zoom calls, know how you need to face your camera, know how you should make your eye contact. You should know when you should allow the others to speak. You should know when you should speak. You should know how to give a constructive feedback. At the same time, you should have an open mind to even accept constructive feedback. So these are
Absolutely.
the lot of barriers that are there in today's time. Stop people from
Absolutely.
communicating. So
Yeah.
I should, forget about these barriers and directly start communicating. Of course, we'll make mistakes in the beginning, but those mistakes are going to be our lessons, and through that we'll improve. So these are the barriers that I feel are the most common barriers and challenges in everyone's life.
Yeah, I like each and every point of yours. I feel that people are not confident just because they have, first thing, they have not experienced speaking in front of people. Second thing, they
Yes.
feel that if I'm not good in speaking, I will not be able to speak. So that they are not
Yes.
trying again and again. And just because of they are
Yes.
not trying, they are not growing. And based on what you have learned in communication skills, what advice do you want to offer to people who really want to improve their communication skills and want to speak effectively? Yeah.
So, firstly, you need to have a very strong willpower
Yeah.
that you need to learn communication. You need to
Mhm.
accept it. Not just realization is not going to be enough. You need to be acceptable, and you also need to be prepared to face doing mistakes, learning from them, and growing. That's the
Okay.
first thing, mindset.
Mhm.
Number two, to establish, to start communicating better, First thing, like I said, observe how people are communicating around you.
Yeah.
If you're an introvert, see how people are talking, how they are making
Yeah.
friends, how they're networking, how they're approaching different categories of people.
Yeah.
Now, they can be according to age groups, they can be according to designation, anything. Observe. Then
Yeah.
you start talking one on one to your colleagues. Try and
Yeah.
establish a good connect with them. See where you're making mistakes. See how you're, what is your strong point that you're able to connect with people instantly. Once you
Yeah.
start doing that, then try and change your approach to every different person that you're trying to talk. Now, if you're talking to a kid, your approach has to be different. If you're
Yeah.
talking to your colleague, the approach has to be different. If you're talking to your manager or the HR, the approach has to be different.
Yeah.
So observe, accept, implement, and then execute. So you need to do, you need to follow these patterns. Once you start communicating with people, you'll automatically start networking. Now, once this happens, you need to understand that if you want to communicate, how are you going to communicate? So for
Yeah.
every means of communication, you need to have an approach.
Yes.
Try and incorporate that approach, try and follow that approach, try and apply that approach. So once you're doing all that, then you start watching public speakers, watch them on YouTube, or follow Instagram influencers.
Yeah.
See what hacks are they giving you to communicate well, how you can improve your vocabulary, either by reading or just by learning new words every day, and try using that new words in your daily communication. So once you start following this, it will become like a routine for you. Then it will not be like a task. You
Yeah.
will not think, oh my God, now this is a task that I have to do every day. This will become so organically absorbed in your routine that you'll
Yeah.
automatically start communicating better. So these are the
Absolutely.
simple hacks that you can try to make your communication more effective.
Wow. Somebody wants to improve their communication, they need to follow these pattern what you have shared. And you know, if they really want to improve, they need to go through with this process. Because if
Yes,
because everything has a process and you have to give time, you just
correct.
have to observe, you just have to do it and improve every single day. So that you can
Yes.
if you speak effectively. So now it's time for rapid fire. I will be asking questions, so you have to reply in one word or one sentence. Okay. So my
Okay.
first question
Sure.
is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much you give to yourself in communication skills?
6.
6, only 6. Okay. My second question is, describe yourself in 3 words.
3 words. Honest,
Okay.
hardworking,
Yes.
humble.
Wow. So what is your favorite hobby?
Dance. I love
Wow.
dancing.
Wow. What do you admire the most and why?
What do I admire? I admire honesty and kindness because they are free,
Hmm.
and kindness is free, honesty is free. So when someone is very candid and they're very honest, that really attracts me a lot. I don't like diplomacy.
Wow. This is, I would have to say, this is very humble answer. Okay. So where do you want to see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I would want to see myself as an established event planner, a great soft skill trainer, and
Wow.
of course, I would want to see myself speaking on TEDx one day, TED
Oh,
Talks.
wow. That is great. So what is the first thing you notice in person when you meet for the first time?
Body language,
Okay. And
four things or one thing?
okay, okay. Okay, if money is not the priority, what would you do?
Oh, for me, money is never a priority. I would first want to create a lot of content. I would want to transfer whatever knowledge I have. I would want to learn as much as I can. Monetization is always secondary for me. First, it's always a voluntary benefit.
Wow. So how do you want your life to be?
Just this way. I would not want it any other way. I think my hardships have got me here, and I don't have regrets about it. I think my hardships have made me a stronger person today. I'm much more stronger emotionally, mentally, and I would not want it any other way. I'm very happy with my career right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what challenges you every day?
My own thoughts.
Okay, okay. So what makes you happy and what makes you angry?
What makes me happy? Working makes me happy, talking to people, networking, all that travel, all that makes me happy. Envy, I don't envy people. I think it's a very powerful word to use. I don't envy, but if I would want to admire something in people is how they are dealing with their career, how they are growing, let it be on Instagram, how they are getting more opportunities, how they are exploring opportunities. So all of that, I think I really admire that. I don't envy people. I don't
And
like to envy
okay,
people.
so what makes you angry?
Angry, what makes me angry? Okay, I think dishonesty.
Okay,
Dishonesty makes me angry, very angry.
okay, okay, okay. So if you have to say three things about me, what would you say?
About you?
Yes.
Okay. You're a very positive person. Number two, you are doing great in your career in terms of soft skill. I think you're coaching a lot of people, so you're helping
Okay.
people. That's very nice. And number three is you have a very good personality. You're very friendly, kind. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. I didn't expect this. Oh, thank you so much for this. So I
Thank you.
liked all conversation with you, and I hope people will like it. So thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for your
Thank
precious
you.
time. And I loved it,
Thank you.
the way you have shared each and every word. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much, Rajan. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.